Hello, Diamond Effect podcast listeners. Welcome to episode 188. Today, I want to focus on key transition that you as a business owner need to go through in order to create a sellable asset out of your business. And that transition is from being an owner operator who is often the day to day of their business to becoming a strategic CEO who is a visionary guiding the business to achieve its goals and vision. And the one thing I want to mention here is that transition is gradual. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen with just one change because as your business grows, you will be able to pull yourself out more and more out of the regular operation of the business. And sometimes it's not possible to do it just in one step in one point of your business. So, give you a couple of examples. One of my clients, when we were working together and the business was scaling just from like early six figures to multiple six figures, had to do a leadership transition of them becoming a service provider who is actively servicing their clients to doing less and less than that and more delegating to their team to service the clients and then training and empowering their team. And at first, they were scared of it. They were telling themselves they're not a leader. They never led a group of people and so on. But then I helped them with their transition. Now, another client of mine who has had the team for many years, their part of the transition is not about necessarily just creating a team and delegating the first steps. It's more about empowering the team even more so to be more and more sufficient on their own, more and more empowered, not to just do the tasks, but also make decisions, deal with challenges without the involvement of my client. And that's the part of transition to strategic and visionary CEO they're going through right now. So, this episode is going to be a roadmap for you to follow that if you are still in that business owner operator mode and you do truly want to build your business in a way that becomes sellable asset, the transition you need to do as the owner to become a CEO that's not deeply involved in day to day. Let's get started with signs that might be telling you that you're too much of a business owner operator and it's time to start transitioning. The first sign is you're working long hours, way longer than you would like to, that you hoped for in order to keep the business running. And you never have time to work on the business because you're in the business so much. So you don't have time to create this new marketing channel to bring in new people or to expand sales when you're telling yourself, I don't have time for this. I need to wait till I get time because you're so involved in day to day. Another sign is that you're involved in every single decision in your business, especially if you have a team. Of course, if you don't have a team, you can't decide everything. But once you start having team members, some of the decisions should be delegated to those team members. That's why you have them. They're not just, or they shouldn't be just action takers, but also making decisions within the roles and the parameter of their responsibilities. If you have no strategic plan guiding you, then you're just an owner operator. You're not the CEO. Every CEO has a strategic plan guiding them, helping them take action towards the vision and achieving goals. Another one is if you never take time off or barely ever time off, or if you do take time off, then you're still involved in the business. So you're like pretending off, but not really off. Or some version of that is that you take time off and maybe you're not working during the time off, but then as you're off, things slow down, things get delayed, things stop because your team doesn't make decisions. They're not empowered. So the moment there's a challenge or the moment something outside of regular day to day happens, they feel helpless. They can't move the business forward because you're not there. One last indicator I wanted to talk about is You taking on things that go wrong or challenges that happen or mistakes that are made and fixing them yourself because you're thinking, oh, it's going to be faster than letting my employees deal with it, rather than actually empowering your employees and coaching them to deal with those challenges and fix them so they can learn and their skill set can grow and they become more independent of you. And all those things really limit your business growth. And why? Because you only have 24/7. And there is no way you can be involved in every single aspect of your business if you want to grow it and scale it to a level where just you become its biggest blog if you are involved in every aspect of your business. Just think about it. Even if you tried at some point, at some size level of your business, you will get pulled in so many directions that I almost imagine like a person attached to the wheel that spins and then the wheel expands, and you like just up in million pieces. Another thing that is happening is that if you do have a team and yet you do everything for them, you're creating helpless workforce. You're not empowering, you're actually disempowering them and teaching them that everything that happens outside of the box, the boss handles. And that my ideas don't matter, that there's no point for me to even be resourceful and creative because the boss will get in and just do everything. This is not the type of people that you want to keep. This is not the type of team that you want to raise because then running a business becomes highly expensive. And sellable assets rely on strong people, strong teams, and then streamlined processes and some great tools that empower them. But without strong teams and people, processes and tools won't do just the work on their own, especially in a service business. So now let's talk about what a strategic CEO and visionary mindset should be, or what type of mindset a strategic CEO and visionary have. And I will tie it in with my top CEO formula, so T.O.P, because that's why I created it. T stands for thinking, and your thinking leads to your decisions. And your decisions drive actions and outcomes in the business. A strategic CEO thinks strategically, thinks about long-term vision for the business, of course, short-term needs, and balances it, right? Strategic CEOs thinks about the well-being of their business, not just in the moment, but in the long term. Strategic thinking means you have a vision that you want to build something greater than yourself, that you want to impact a lot of people, that you have a big dream, big vision that ultimately you'll lead your business to accomplish. O stands for operation. And it's not just the streamlined and effective operation of the business, but you as the CEO as well. So you need to operate at the highest level to then drive your business to do the same. And that means you need to think and feel and act at the highest level. You getting involved in administrative tasks or fixing stuff that your employees should fix is not operating at the highest level. Here, I want to give you a tip. I call it $10,000 test. If you're doing an activity in your business, ask yourself, would I pay anybody, including myself, $10,000 an hour to do this? And if the answer is no, meaning if the value of that work or if that work doesn't create $10,000 or more of value, current or future for the business, then you want to question that activity and you doing it. And maybe it is an activity that needs to be done, but if it's not $10,000 worth of value, then somebody else should be doing it. And P stands for people. People are one of the biggest assets of your business because that's what makes the business. And you, as the visionary and strategic CEO, need to empower your people to work as a team, as a high performing team at their best level. And that means you got to coach them and train them and delegate properly and not do the things for them. But you cannot do it if you yourself are not high performing. So, what are the key differences between an owner operator and a visionary CEO? The operator is stuck in the day to day in the weeds of the business. The visionary CEO has a great vision and strategic plan to how the business should grow, and they lead the business and their team to do it without being stuck in the minutiae and spending their time there. An operator doesn't delegate at all, or if they delegate, they still micromanage and step in to fix the issues, step in to resolve everything because they think it's better this way, it saves time and so on. Whereas a strategic CEO understands that even if there's issues, their role is to empower their team to figure out how to solve them, to create effective solutions to solve those issues. CEO builds a high performing team. An operator mostly makes decisions in the moment. From day to day, they're like, oh, let's go do this, let's do that. So there's no really strategic plan driving them. Whereas the visionary CEO has a plan, follows it, if anything, reviews it, looks back and strategically improve on it or pivot, not in a reactive way, but in a very proactive way as needed. So, how do you become a visionary CEO? You follow my coaching method, dream, plan, do. You start with the dream, you start with a vision. Visionary CEO, strategic CEO always starts there. Then you move on to the planning stage. So then you break out that vision into action. And that's what strategic plan is. It's great to have a dream, but if you don't make it actionable, then it's just going to stay a dream. So planning part is making the dream actionable, breaking it down into smaller chunks, into different sections, and thinking, what do I implement, when, how, what type of actions have to be done, who is responsible for those actions. And then doing it and implementing, of course, not all by yourself, but with the help of your team. And while you're doing it consistently, then going back and reviewing and improving as you go. Now, it's hard to do it if you haven't created your time for strategic thinking. So, the first action you want to make is actually create a dedicated CEO time in your schedule. And it's not going to happen on its own. You have to create it. Once you have that, then create a dream and then create a strategic plan. Now, one important note about creating strategies, it might require you to assess and evaluate the status quo of your business, right? What's going on right now? What's working? What's not working? What are some parts of the business or some systems and processes that need improvement? And what would that improvement look like? So you can really create an implementation plan of your vision without having a thorough understanding of the current situation, what are the root causes of the problem, and how fixing those root causes brings you closer to the vision. In order to do that and know that once you're implementing, you're moving forward in the right direction, you want to have metrics to track. Those metrics will tell you if your progress is positive or not so much. And of course, depending on what you're implementing, depending on what you're working on, there will be different metrics, but I will give you a couple of examples from my clients. So when we work with one of my clients thinking about making sure that their customer journey was optimized and elevated, we look at number of clients they had every week, number of cancellations, the reasons for those cancellations. Then we adjusted that number to a goal of how many clients they would need a week in order to reach their strategic plan and strategic goals. How then we looked at cancellations and the improvements to reduce the number of cancellations. Another client of mine, when we're looking at their expansion and growth of sales, we look at the speed of response to client inquiries and the speed of sending client quotes. We look at the conversion rates from quotes to clients. We look at the length of the decision between the client getting a quote and then their decision making to actually starting a project. We look at number of potential new clients that my client could reach out to build up the lead pipeline. This is all to say that your metrics should be custom to you, to what you're focusing on, where you're driving your business, what kind of improvements you're doing. Now, common challenges that business owners encounter while moving to visionary CEOs and while making that transformation are fear of letting go. When we're used to control everything and be involved in everything, naturally, a fear of letting some of that go will come up because your brain will think you're losing control. As normal as this fear is, everybody feels it, it's not true. What allows you to still oversee everything is the proper processes, documented and very clear of who's responsible for what decisions they can make and so on. Then metrics that you track to see if everything is going well and in the direction you want. But you don't need to do it all to feel in control. You can empower your team and then lead your team and check through the metrics, regular meetings, strategy discussions to feel like you're impacting your business and you have control over where it's going. Another issues that business owners encounter is with delegation. At first, it's a lack of skill set of delegation. So you might not know what to delegate, how to delegate effectively so people do what you need them to do. And then once you learn that, part of the challenge could be trying to step in and do certain things for your employees, right? Or not delegating effectively. The great solution first is to learn the skill set, right? Hire a coach like me or any other professional or read some books, some materials of how to delegate effectively. And then it's practice, feedback, improvement, and practice. And it's the same with the last challenge. It's time management. As a visionary strategic CEO, you need to have your time management down to a science. And without proper planning, boundary setting, prioritization, and directing your focus, it will never happen. If you think that time management just happens on its own and one day magically you'll have time because you'll hire enough people, that's not going to happen. Time management and the highest performing people, it's an intentional habit building and structure building around how you operate every day in order to make sure that the actions you take in the business have the highest impact and you're not wasting time on low value, low quality actions. Now, if that sounds great, but you're thinking, oh my God, how am I going to implement it? I don't know where to start. I feel like I'm definitely lacking the skill set of time management, delegation. I can help you. That's what my T.O.P CEO formula does. That's how I help my clients. We can talk. All you need to do is book a free strategy call with me. I share the links to my calendar in the show notes, or you can reach out to me wherever you're seeing the podcast and let's talk. See you next week.